Hello and welcome to Dr. Sally's Kitchen and my fourth in a series of Facebook Lives using the healing power of food to strengthen your immunity and grow your health. Today we're talking about spring and spring greens, and I want to have you meet a surprising green that most of us haven't really eaten our whole lives, and it's dandelion greens. Yeah, these things that we have cursed and picked and thrown away are actually a really healthy edible green. So that's what we're going to prep this morning. I'm Dr. Sally Lamont. I've been a naturopathic doctor and acupuncturist for decades, and when I actually wear two hats, the naturopathic doctor hat and the acupuncturist hat, because I'm always integrating the best of the East with the West. So when I think of spring, I think of the color green, which is the color obviously associated with the season spring in traditional Chinese medicine. And then I think about the liver, because that's the organ that the Chinese have correlated to the spring and to the color green. And I think about liver tonics, and when I think about liver tonics, I think about dandelion greens. So that's where we're going this morning. And this is going to be a short post. It doesn't take too long to cook these babies up. And so I want you to stick around until the end, which will only be in like 10 or 15 minutes, because I'm very excited to tell you about my program that I'm rolling out called Spring Clean Your Body. So that's coming right up. But first, let's talk about these greens. Now, we always think of greens as something we eat raw in a salad, but they can be cooked. And they're used around the world, whether it's bok choy and a bunch of other greens in Asia that we don't really use here, or it is Swiss chard, or collard greens in the South, or kale, which has just become ubiquitous in our country, from kale smoothies to kale salads. But I want to show you how to make kale really work and help those people who think they hate cooked greens like them a little bit more. And so the way to do that is to get rid of some of the toughness in greens. So today I'm using a kind of kale called Dinosaur Kale, and it's called Dinosaur Kale because it has this interesting kind of mottled texture to it, and it's got this spine. And so the first thing you want to do is I think of it as unzipping the leaf and just pull out that thicker center and toss it to the side. And then tear it up into little pieces or chop it into 1-inch chunks. And then we're going to treat this the way real chefs do, and that is to blanch it. Give these babies a bath. And we're going to start with the tougher of the greens, and that's this Dinosaur Kale. And we're just going to dunk it, and I'm going to use this cool little tool to immerse it, because we want to just let this sit in a lightly boiling water for maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And while we do that, I'm probably only going to do it a couple minutes because we're going to put the dandelion greens in next. So here's what I want to tell you about dandelion greens. They vary a lot. The kind you see in your garden might be very low to the ground and very thick and tough. I got some a week or two ago at the farmer's market that were much bigger than these leaves and much tougher. So, the rule is you want to get rid of that toughness through this blanching process. So we're going to do that here to the dandelion greens. Now, they have a lot of stems too, but they're much thinner than the stems of the kale, so we don't have to cook them as long. And I've already prepped a set over here. Before I plunge these into the water, though, I want to show you the shape and tell you about the name, dandelion. It really comes from the Latin dandelion, which means the tooth of the lion. This sharp, pointy leaf is what it gets the name from. And so I tend to Think of it as the king of the jungle and the king of the greens. And it's different than all of the other greens. So now that that's been in there for a minute, I'm going to stick these guys in. And we're just going to let them go a couple more minutes. And then we're going to saute them. And I've already got some onions that I've begun to brown. And so we're just going to let those guys take a little hot tub. And they'll be ready in a minute. So during this time, I want to tell you about the health benefits of dandelion greens because they're very profound. Now, dandelion greens are different than other greens in that they are more bitter. In fact, some people might cringe at their bitterness, but it is the bitter quality that has its health benefits. And one of the things that, the Chinese have always associated the bitter taste with is a tonic for the liver. And in fact, in cell culture and animal studies, which is where most of the research on dandelion, or taraxacum is its botanical name, it's all been done primarily in animal and cell cultures, and they have found that it actually helps to protect the liver against hepatitis B virus. We don't know if it'll help protect against coronavirus, but we do know that one of the side effects of the coronavirus is us humans piling inside, consuming large quantities of alcohol and junk food. And that's where dandelion comes in because it does have a protective effect on the liver. It actually has some benefit to digestion in that it tends to act like pancreatic lipase. It helps the body to break down fats. I have a list here of some of its cool benefits. I talked about the hepatitis B virus, but they've actually studied it, and the dandelion greens help to protect the liver against the effects of alcohol. So that's something most of us could use because, Americans have joined the Europeans in imbibing regularly in alcohol, and just having dandelion tea or sautéed dandelion greens can help your liver recuperate. And then we often will take some acetaminophen or Tylenol after we've had booze, and it has its own liver damaging effects. Studies have shown that that dandelion greens actually help to protect the liver against damage from Tylenol. It also helps lung cells in rats be spared the damaging effects of inflammation. So that's another reason I wanted to talk to you about this health benefit, these health benefits of dandelion greens. So what I've done is taken these guys out of the hot tub and I've put them into a cold tub. I'm just going to move that over here and bring over the skillet where I've sauteed some shallots. I'm going to take a sip of my green tea as we move on to cooking these babies. So let's see. I think I told you about the health benefits that are most important. So back to its culinary efforts. Dandelion greens and kale are, as we've talked about, kind of bitter, kind of tough. So we've cooled them off, we've given them a hot bath, a cold bath, and now what we're going to do is just strain some of the water out of these, and you can just do that with your hands. Just wring them out. And as I was preparing for this, I read that you can actually do what I'm doing right now. Wring it out, make it into little balls, and then keep it like this in your refrigerator for when you're ready to prepare them. So I've turned the heat back up on the shallots that I've lightly browned. And now what we're going to do is just drop these greens in here and let them start to soften a little bit more. Here comes the last set. And you want to just wring a lot of that water out. There's just enough water to help it steam. And I've got this going over kind of a medium heat. And so just enough water to help bring it all together and steam. So let's get these guys going. And if it feels a little dry and you'd like to add a little oil, feel free. The oil actually enhances the absorption of the lycopene, which is a vitamin A cousin that helps protect against pancreatic cancer. Greens are very rich in folic acid, which is one of the most important of the B vitamins that helps our body methylate and protect our cells and our genome. So you want to get your greens and you want to get the folic acid in a way that it can be easily absorbed, and just a brief saute like this will help. And I think I'm going to give it another drizzle of olive oil, because we don't want it to scorch is really the word I'm looking for. So I'm just tossing these around a little, keeping them moving, keeping them soft, keeping them from burning, and yet kind of complete that cooking process. So we're going to let those guys just steam away for just another couple of minutes, during which time I'm going to give them a little sprinkle of sea salt. Here we go. Probably it doesn't take a lot. By the way, this was 2 bunches of dandelion greens and 1 bunch of the dinosaur kale. The first thing you'll notice is a lot of greens turn into not too much when you actually serve it. I mean, in the end, we might end up with 3 cups of greens here, so not a lot. So plan accordingly. And this kind of stuff is really good the next day. If you have greens left over, heat them up, put a couple of poached eggs on them, and you really start your day right. Okay, and finally, what I'm going to do, because you need to balance the bitterness of the greens, which has been diminished through the cooking process, with a little salt. And I have taken some golden raisins and soaked them just a little. So we're getting a little bit of sweet in there to balance it out. And what I'll often do is do a squeeze of lemon, so we get that right balance of the salt, the acid, the oil, and the sweetness. That's the key to great cooking. So we've got those guys all in there. And what I would love to have done, and as soon as I find my pine nuts, which I bought the other day and could not find, I would put some toasted pine nuts on here. They just offer the right kind of crunch, and then you have a really delicious and beautiful green that I have to say, the dandelions may be an acquired taste, but I remember the first time I served these to my daughter, who was probably 10 or 12 at the time. She went, "Those are really good, Mom." And it kind of surprised me, because you would think kids don't necessarily gravitate to the bitter flavor. But in this case, there's something about this combo that really works. So I'm just going to get these off of the fire and put them on a plate, and we'll have them for dinner tonight. And maybe for breakfast tomorrow. So there's a beautiful plate of sautéed dandelion greens with shallots, golden raisins, olive oil, and salt. And we'll set that right here. And I'm going to move this aside, because I actually want to bring my computer over and tell you guys now about a program that I've created that I'm really excited about. And it's called Spring Clean Your Body. And what this is going to be is a small group, a 5-week program. It's going to start in a couple of weeks, right after Memorial Day. In fact, 2 weeks today. And I've created it for those of us who are, really looking to make some lasting changes and need some support, and who are kind of craving a more healthy and delicious approach to eating, but you're not quite sure where to start. I want to be your coach and hold your hand and cheerlead you through a 5-week process that will really be going on right as we transition from spring into summer. And we're going to finish up right before 4th of July weekend. Every week, I am going to share with you a video I'm calling it a build a clean meal. And I'll put together a meal and share all of my recipes and share the information about the healing benefits of the food. And I will also do a weekly video for you guys, similar to the way I've done these. I'm calling it Become a Veggie Lover. And because I don't want you to say you're sorry to these superfoods. There's so many wonderful things that we just don't use in our culture, and we need to. They're often the least expensive and most delicious ingredients, but we didn't grow up eating them, so we don't know how to deal with them. So I want to show you how to do that. And I'm so excited about my flavor bombs. And I'll take you guys out to my herb garden and let you taste I can't really let you taste, but I'll describe the flavors of marjoram and basil and oregano and tarragon and thyme, cilantro, dill. I mean, there's just a range of these fresh herbs that when you use them in salads or omelets or anywhere, baked potatoes, on chicken, fish, whatever you're cooking, it wakes them up. And the flip side of the fresh herbs are the spices. And these tend to be dried seeds and barks and stem like cinnamon, ginger, turmeric. These things can transform the flavors of what you're cooking, and they've got so many powerful health benefits. So I've put together a beautiful PDF on my flavor bombs, and we're going to be using them. And I want to do a 21-day challenge. We're calling You've Got This, a 21-day challenge. And we'll just kind of take out some of the bad, bring in more of the good, with the whole goal of getting you ready by 4th of July weekend to have a flatter tummy, more energy, and just basically feeling and looking better, and knowing how to cook and feed yourself and your family healthy food. One of the cool things we're going to do is I'm going to invite you to do a personalized case study, and you can apply, and I'm going to pick one that I think that everyone in the group will like, and it'll be anonymous, but we'll just talk about how I would approach that person's health problems. And then I've got some cool bonuses for you. I've got my Dr. Sally's Healthy Eating Checklist, which we'll use to bring in the good and get rid of the old. And it's just a 3-week challenge. It's a perfect time of year. I'm going to take you into my pantry and show you my favorite health products, my favorite brands, my personal nutritional supplement program as I prepare for the summer ahead and staying healthy with who knows what's going to happen with the pandemic in the fall. And because good health begins in the gut, I've got some good gut protocols I want to share with you. So I say, let the happy dance begin. I'm offering this to you for a pretty ridiculously low price because I want to support you through this. And I know so many people have been through tough times during this pandemic. So we're doing 5 weeks for $67. It's not going to break anyone's bank, but it's going to take you into the summer feeling really good. So I want you to go to healthyagingreset.com, not thehealthyagingreset.com, just healthyagingreset.com/spring-clean-your-body. healthyagingreset.com/spring-clean-your-body. And there you will find a page that describes the whole program. I'll go ahead and put this on my Dr. Sally's Kitchen Facebook page and my Dr. Sally's Kitchen website, which is home to all of my recipes and a blog, just lots of great posts about the healing power of food and everything you can do to grow your health and reverse your risk of chronic disease and really protect yourself against this damn virus. So that's what I've got for you today. It was good being with you. Have a wonderful day, and I hope you can join me in this class. If you can't, I just got to let you know I'm going to be spending the next few weeks with this tribe of people who will be joining me. So I'm not going to do these Facebook Lives again for a while, but I'll probably pick them up in July. Meanwhile, come and play with me in the kitchen, okay? All right, bye-bye.